So, this fine young lady here will be Belinda will be our pro team, and here this other fine young lady will be our con team. Thank you very much. And their topic will be, I'll ask Sylvie, why not? Their topic is?
Ooh, that's a very strong one. Nuclear energy is necessary to fight climate change. You can start.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we stand firmly in favor of the notion that nuclear energy is necessary to fight climate change, and my argument is threefold. First and foremost, nuclear energy solves the very first problem that we are facing, which is carbon emission. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has stated that nuclear energy has less carbon emissions. Fossil fuels, for example, which is well known for emitting carbon, has gone 98% to 99% of more carbon emissions than nuclear energy. Secondly, other energy types that comes to our mind, for example, wind energy and solar energy, they all require a huge amount of land. For example, wind energy requires 360 times more land than nuclear energy, and this land has to sacrifice a lot. We need to cut forests, we have to cut down wetlands, and this is even intensifying the problem rather than solving it. So that's why we need to use nuclear energy. And thirdly, perhaps most importantly, nuclear energy is very stable. It doesn't depend on weather, for example, wind and sunlight. So it is stable and offer a best alternative. Thank you.
Yes, now we will hear the opening statement. No, the first statement, sorry, by Zorka.
It's not 2 minutes. Oh, that's this one. Oh, thank you.
Good afternoon. My opponent has stated that carbon emission is way less when nuclear energy is used. However, nuclear energy has a high risk of producing dangerous radioactive waste, which is dangerous for the next thousands of years, and it's hard and dangerous to store it. We have also said that it's a lot more stable because, for example, renewable energy requires the weather to be always stable. Well, I agree with that point, but however, it's extremely expensive compared to those renewables because cheapest forms of electricity are solar and wind. But thank you.
Then now the judges will ask their questions to the content, so Zorka.
Okay, just a second. You're stating that nuclear energy is not necessary to fight climate change, right? At the same time, we know that the windmills and everything that's renewable energy, it depends on weather. So, what would you say? Is it more? Don't you think that nuclear energy is more reliable than I'm sorry, than renewable sources? Yeah.
What is the time? How much time? 2 minutes? Well, I firmly believe that nuclear energy isn't necessary to fight climate change because even though these cheaper forms are that it's more reliable than the cheaper forms, it has high risks of danger because, how I already said, because of the radioactive waste it comes with. Also, the International Energy Agency said that nuclear energy is too slow to make a difference because the nuclear power plants take 10 to 15 years to build, and climate change needs immediate change and action in this decade. Therefore, it's not reliable, and nobody wants another Chernobyl disaster. Thank you.
Okay, hi Belinda. Given the risks of accidents and radioactive waste, how can nuclear truly be considered safe?
It is a really valid question, and it's true that in the past there have been a lot of catastrophic events, for example Fukushima and Chernobyl, which are all caused by nuclear energy. However, technology has improved a lot, and as my research has told me, that we are having cooling systems, monitoring systems, and also the constant storage systems that can ensure that nuclear energy are stored in safe places, so then there won't be any catastrophic explosions happening again.
Thank you very much. And now the front team will make its closing statement.
How much is the time? 2 minutes? 2 minutes. Okay. So, summing up, nuclear energy is too slow to make a difference, and it has a high risk of producing dangerous radioactive waste. It is also extremely expensive compared to renewables, and it takes a long time, these nuclear power plants, to be built. Moreover, nobody wants any disasters, and the cheapest forms of electricity are solar and wind energy anyways. Therefore, I hold fast to the idea that nuclear energy is not necessary at all to fight climate change. Thank you.
Now the pro team will make its closing statement.
Throughout this debate, I've demonstrated that nuclear energy is necessary to fight climate change. First and foremost, they emit minimal amount of carbon than other fossil fuels or any other coal-based power production. Secondly, it cuts no trees, no wetlands, so then we won't even intensify the problem of climate change. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, is stability. Clean energy is supported by renewable energy as well, but the only difference is that nuclear energy doesn't depend on weather conditions, for example, lack of sunlight or lack of wind. Maybe most people would assume that nuclear energy are too much to afford, especially for the developing countries. However, there are many climate funds giving money for the developing countries, so then they can also store and install nuclear energy, benefiting from this great invention as the well-developed countries. And that concludes my conclusion for this round. Thank you.
Congratulations, girls. We're very happy to see two lovely ladies in the finals. This was not an easy job for us, to be honest. but we think you had really good arguments for what we concluded is not a very feminine topic, but you held your ground and you stood your ground and you did it wonderfully. Zorka, we think that you were very expressive, we were very laid back, and you gave great reflections to what she said. Belinda, we think you reflected to everything very thoroughly. You seem like you're very well informed of the topic, and your English is very good. So we think it's like on a native level. So 4 of us have decided that the winner is Belinda.